This video is brought to you by Straight Goods News, Canada's alternative online news source. Visit straightgoods.ca.
This all flows from the Chief Electoral Report flowing from the 2008 election where he made changes to the Elections Act. We've been spending almost 2 years on it. For the most part, we've agreed overwhelmingly with most of the recommendations or found recommendations that we can support. On this particular one, the Chief Electoral Officer has simply asked for the power to demand and receive any documents he or she needs in order to assure themselves that all the political parties have complied with the law, particularly when they're getting any kind of a subsidy from the government. We in the opposition said, of course, we'll give them that power. The government said no. And that's where it stands right now. Every province in our country, the Chief Electoral Officer has the power to demand any documents that they need. At the federal level, our Chief Electoral Officer does not have that power, and it's because the government won't give it to them. And I keep getting on my feet in the House and asking the government, why won't you give these powers to the Chief Electoral Officer? Why? It's a legitimate question.
Are you getting an answer?
I'm not. Well, you heard in question period. I'm not getting an answer. I'm not in committee. Well, if you look at the majority report, took the second option, and the second option was that every political party that is requesting a subsidy would have to do a compliance audit, every one of them, which means that you have to give it to auditors, and they then look at your return, and they look at all the laws and determine whether or not you have met the requirements of the law. Quite frankly, that's what the Chief Electoral Officer does. But right now, the report says that it should be done by these auditors. That's going to cost a lot of money and take a lot of time when it may not be necessary. It may be just one document that the Chief Electoral Officer needs, and they just need the power to request it. It's very straightforward. It leads us to ask, in the context of the robocalls, what are they hiding? What is it about having this power that terrifies them? Because otherwise, they play like the Chief Electoral Officer is the sheriff in town, and he's the honest referee that's going to decide the election and whether the rules are complied with. But now they're balking at giving him this power. Why?